What's up everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we're going to take a look at the 2024 Lexus NX 350 F Sport. Huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this luxury SUV for me today. Take a look at their website because they have a huge selection of pretty much brand new inventory. That link is down in the description. This NX is finished off in Cloudburst Gray. MSRP start right around $48,000. And this is powered by the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbo paired to the 8-speed automatic transmission. It pumps out 275 horsepower, 315 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the all-wheel drive system, propelling this 4,000-pound SUV from 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds. It has a top speed of 127 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 14.5 gallons. You'll expect to see around 28 miles per gallon in the city, 28 out on the highway. This has a wheelbase of 105.9. Its overall length is 183.5. It has a width of 73.4, a height of 65.4, and its ground clearance measures in at 7.7 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this Lexus, let's start off with the hourglass design for the grille, because on a lot of the 24-year models from Lexus, we have some different grille designs. On this model here, as you can tell, it still retains that distinctive hourglass design with the surround that is finished off in gloss black. The Lexus badge is also the forward-facing sensor for the adaptive cruise, and there are plenty of cutouts in that grille, as well as the trim accents on both sides to provide a lot more cooling to that engine. Now this also has the LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals with that crisp point for the DRL, as well as the bodywork that's also there. And this even has the headlight washers, so those will appear to clean those as needed. This also has LED fog lights down in the lower corners, and then a very nice design for that lower section of the bumper there. There's also two lines that come down the hood, meeting the top section just above that Lexus badge very nicely. Now, as we work our way to the side, this has a set of 20-inch wheels finished off in gloss black with that multi-spoke design. This also has the F Sport adaptive suspension. There's the F Sport logo. This has the two-tone design for the side mirrors with the turn signal. There's also a sunroof up top with the gloss black roof racks. They're also surrounding all of the window trim too. And then some very nice lines that run down the side. There's that lower section there, as well as the line just above that rear door handle, and the fender arches too, which have some crisp points. There's also this last one here in the rear fender that goes back to the LED taillights. This does have a body colored spoiler with the brake light, wiper blade down below. The LED bar continues its way through the middle of that power lift gate, and then there's the backup camera, as well as some more trim accents in that lower section. Now you can use the button on the key fob or the one up underneath to open up this power lift gate, where this has a lot of space. This is on the smaller side for the SUV lineup from Lexus, but there's a net on one side. You have a lot more space over on the passenger side, as well as some tie-down hooks where you can secure some items. And then underneath the floor, look at the size of this bin. You can even lift it up for a second and third bin underneath the floor for more storage. You can fold down the back seats as well, and this cover is removable if you need a little bit more space. So very practical. You can lock it or just close it with those buttons up top. And then as we work our way to the back seats, just pull the electronic button on the inside of that door handle, and we can gain access to this beautiful door panel where there's leather, there's some really nice trim accents, a little bit of storage down below. We have the electronic release. If you pull it twice, that is the manual release if you need to use that. And then the black leather seats, which have a nice design. Now at 5'10", I have plenty of space. There's also storage pockets, there's air vents, even some auxiliaries down below. And I have 2 or 3 inches above my head, so very comfortable and spacious. I could have 2 people back here with me. Right in the middle, there's the armrest and 2 cup holders. And then you have some extra windows there just to give you some more light for your backseat passengers. Now for the front driver door panel, there's all the window adjustments along with the side mirror controls, which are power folding, and then a little bit more storage. Really cool trim accent as well in the upper section. F Sport badge is down on the door sill, as well as the floor mats. It's also up in the headrest as well. And these are power operated, so all of those controls are down on the side. This also has a solid and perforated F Sport steering wheel. There's paddle shifters as well. Let's fire this up though. And we can go over the rest of these controls because all of these are going to be shown on the head-up display. So let's start on this left side where there's volume, and then we have these controls. You can actually change what those do by pushing on that bottom button. So for the head-up display over on the left side, currently the top button is Bluetooth, voice commands, and then tuning is left and right with volume on that right side. If I push on that pages button, now we have audio, we have mode, and then we still retain tuning for left and right. Now, if I switch over to the controls on the right side of the steering wheel, right now we are shown the height adjustment that you can make for the head-up display. And then if I push on it one more time, we have the following distance along with your mode for the driving assistance. There's also lane keeping and then the lane tracing as well and adaptive cruise there. Now, if I go back to the display controls, you can actually go through a lot of info on that left side of the head-up display, but it's also going to be shown on the gauge cluster itself. So you can easily scroll through all of that and look at it two different ways, just depending on what you'd like to see for the day. Now, the rest of the gauge cluster is fixed. So engine temperatures on that left side, fuel levels on the right side, and then you have everything fixed within that LCD screen right in the middle. It would be nice to see a little bit more configurability, but you have all that info, which is great. Now on this left side, there's a small storage bin down below. There's the fuel cap and liftgate release, some dimmer switches, and the odometer settings. And then looking at the infotainment system, I'm surprised for the 24-year model we don't have that massive new screen. So we have the navigation, there's music, you have your phone, you can go into your driving assistance, trip information, all-wheel drive, and then you have various settings to go into. So everything is exactly the same as the newer system. It's just much larger and would probably go all the way over to here. Underneath that, still within the screen, there's the heated seats, heated steering wheel. You have climate adjustments that you can get into, as well as pushing on these to get into your frequently used, your convenience. You have all of these displays and all of this tech that you can go through. Volume is right in the middle. There's also the fan speed. You have the temperature dials on both sides, and then defrosters too, 2 air vents. And then underneath that, there's a little bit of storage with the auxiliaries. And then there's also the different driving modes. So that will change the gauge cluster just depending on the mode that you're in. There's Eco, Sport, Sport S Plus, as well as a normal setting. Now, what's interesting about the wireless charging pad is that you can actually open that and it gives you even more hidden space along with an auxiliary. There's a cutout too, so that way you can charge items and have that pass through. 2 cup holders on that right side. This is how you can put the vehicle into reverse. So you have the backup camera there. Drive is going to be in the opposite direction, and then once you're in drive, pull it straight back for the manual setting. Now behind that, there's traction control along with an off-road assistance. You have the auto hold, engine start stop, downhill assist, and the e-brake is just behind that. Now the center armrest is going to open up 2 different ways. Gives you a lot of space, and then you have the glove box too for even more space. Up top, there's a sunglass holder along with all the dome lights and the controls for that sunroof. Sunshade is manual adjusting. And then even with those pillars in the back, you can still see over both shoulders. As we set off now behind the wheel for this Lexus NX 350, I have a lot of experience in the RX 350, which is a little bit bigger than this. So being able to check out the smaller version now is really neat. Now, like I've already mentioned earlier, there's a few subtle differences between this and the RX 350. I'm not sure if there's going to be some other updates and design changes for the NX. Maybe we will see that for the next year, but nonetheless, it's still a nice design both on the exterior and for the interior tech. Now, the starting price for this NX is under $50,000. If you go with the RX, that's going to be closer to the $60,000 mark. So you get a little bit smaller of a vehicle, very similar technology, but you also are going to spend a little bit less. So I have a lot of experience driving Lexus SUVs, and this is honestly no different. When you go with the F Sport model, you are going to get that different suspension, so it's going to ride and drive very, very nice. Lexus is a luxury brand. Everything's well refined. This is something you're not even hearing traffic pass me. It is that quiet on the inside. It's a very nice, comfortable place to be to really rack up the miles. And with this Lexus, you are getting a very reliable vehicle. So it's going to be easy to maintain, something that you can keep for several years. A lot of people who buy Lexus and Toyota models own these for at least 10 years, if not longer. My parents are one of those in that statistic. They usually keep their vehicles for that long before they decide if they want to go with a new one or keep it for a little bit longer. So let's pop this into Sport S Plus. We can use the paddle shifters. Probably not something you are going to use a lot, but when you push on the left paddle, that will downshift, and then the right paddle is going to upshift. Honestly, not bad from this 4-cylinder turbo. It definitely has plenty to not even go high in those RPMs and get up and move. So if you need to merge on to the highway and traffic, you just need to get up to speed. It's not a bad engine with over 300 pound-feet of torque. This thing is going to get up and scoot. So it's nice to see that. And then you will notice a difference between these driving modes. So if you go into eco mode, it is going to modulate the throttle response to where you really don't have any. So it's going to be something for maybe highway cruising. And from second gear, here we go. And just like that, we're up to speed. Surprising to see how responsive these paddle shifters are. This is not a vehicle that you're really going to use them often, but I would. They're very responsive, and I like driving performance-oriented vehicles, which this is not. However, paddle shifters are super responsive, which is nice. It gives you some of that performance driving, which is nice to see. Turning radius is super tight. Visibility is easy to see. And then getting back up to speed, equally as nice. So now that we're behind the wheel of this sub $50,000 luxury focused Lexus, very cool to see that for more of an entry level price point, it's still going to be around $50,000. But the average price of a brand new vehicle is about 48, 49 grand right now. So it's within that price point that a lot of people are spending money on. If you want a smaller vehicle, something like this, and you want to go with a luxury and reliable brand, this is a win-win for both of those categories. And for its price, I do like how comfortable it is. Suspension is definitely nice. So for the F Sport package, you're adding on a few $1,000s, but you're getting some extra goodies with that. Suspension, I will say, is probably the biggest one, which is nice. But you have a lot of space, very nice materials, and you have a vehicle that you can definitely rack up the miles. And that is going to wrap it up for the 2024 Lexus NX 350 F Sport. Once again, huge shout out to Carolina Auto Direct for providing this for me today. Check out their website. Also give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.